So what do you need for kettlebell training? This is a question that often gets asked. And to be honest, it can't just be you and your kettlebell. That can be it. It's as simple as that. But for long-term work and sticking with the kettlebell and just making everything perfect, this is your toolkit. I've made a toolkit, a full list. So we need a mat, because if you're working out at home or even when you're working outside, the floor can be rough, especially if you want to do groundwork, laying down, or reverse lunges where you're tapping the ground gently. Mat is perfect. For at home, you want to get a bit of a thicker mat to protect your floor, especially if you got marble floors or tiles. Also your neighbors, you want to think about your neighbors. So mat is number one. Then chalk. Now this is in any order. Just because it's number one doesn't mean it's the most important thing, okay? Chalk is what we need when we're doing endurance work. You want to chalk your hands up and you want to chalk the bell. There's a special way of doing that. You want to get the bell a little bit moist but not too wet, and then you want to put the chalk on it so it sticks. You want to do your hands as well, get all the cracks, but you don't want to use too much either, okay? Now, some gyms don't allow chalk, so you need to keep that in mind. To me, a real gym is where chalk is flying. I love chalk. So chalk for high reps, where you don't put the kettlebell down, and also in humid places where it's really hot. So chalk. Number two, a timer. I bought a big nice screen to put the timer on, and of course we're using the Caveman training timer. Timer you need for 4-time workouts, AMRAP workouts, and it's just to see how you're progressing. So a timer is important for workouts, to keep track of your progress, to see how long you're working, etc. Then we got sandpaper. Sandpaper is important, especially if you got a kettlebell that's a bit older. Even new kettlebells. Some of these kettlebells have a really smooth layer on the handle, and nothing sticks. It's really slippery. It's of course to protect it from rust and all that, but I'd rather have rust on there and maintain it than a handle that's way too slippery. So we got sandpaper like this. That's great for the handles. So you just feed it through and you work your handle like that. So strips of sandpaper, nice and fine. You want it coarse if there's a lot of rust on there to start with. Then I also like these here. They're like a sponge with sandpaper on it. They last quite long, and you can get really into the corners around it, etc. I even do this part so that my clothes don't get dirty. I maintain my kettlebell quite regularly. So that's a sponge with sandpaper. I like those a lot. A whiteboard. You need a whiteboard to write your workout out. So we got lots of workouts in this book, but it's hard to read your book. So you put it on a big whiteboard, so you need markers as well. Then a book. You need a book like this to keep track of all your workouts. Just write them all down, and the dates, and your results. So this is a magic book, obviously. That's just all our workouts that we do in the Caveman in a circle. So a book. You need a hand scraper. That's very important to keep, to maintain your calluses here. So no matter how good your technique is, you'll always develop calluses here. And depending on how rough your kettlebell is, what kind of exercises you do, it might get worse. So you need to maintain it. If you don't, it gets really hard and painful, and eventually it will dry and rip, especially if you're doing incorrect technique or high volume, or it's sweaty, etc. So find those areas in your hand that are a bit rough and maintain it. Now, don't use gloves, seriously. Some people are worried about their hands. You should be proud of it, okay? Just a little bit rough hands means that you're doing work, you're putting the work in. Don't worry about rough hands. Okay, you need a tripod to film. Why do you need to film? Not only if you have a YouTube channel or you post on Facebook. It's good for yourself as well to keep track of what you're doing, analyze. So if you don't pay other people to coach you and correct your technique, then you need to do that yourself. So a good way is to put your camera on a tripod, film yourself, assess yourself, look at it. And as you're looking back, make notes in your book, what you need to work on, and keep track of that. So a tripod is good to film yourself. You can also film and submit it on our Facebook groups. We got many Facebook groups. You can ask for advice, so don't be scared. It's made for people like yourself to post and ask questions. It's not made for people to be posers, like look at me, I'm pressing 48, look at me, I'm doing 100 kettlebell swings, unbroken, look at me, I've done this. No, these groups are to progress, ask questions and ask for feedback. Of course, you can post videos of what you're doing. You know, it's impressive when you press a heavy weight or when you're doing lots of unbroken swings or snatches, of course. But my point is, this is not just what it's about. Usually you get groups with some people who take over the group and it's all about them. It's like a, hey, look at me, I've done this today, and you know, that's not what it's about. Not just that. Mainly our groups are about learning. So I learn by answering, other trainers learn by answering questions. So the more questions we get, the more I learn too, because I have to think and other trainers have to think to answer. Every time there's a different situation. So it's not just you that are learning, the trainers are learning too. And if there are no questions, then everybody's just not learning, okay? You can only learn and progress by continuously asking every little thing. Okay, so that's the tripod for me. That's super important, and it should become a super important part of your kettlebell toolkit too. And use our groups as well. So I'll put those down below, right there, links to our groups. You should join them. They're really good. They're the most positive groups that you'll find on Facebook. We don't allow trolling, and we keep track of the spam as well. Sometimes spam comes through, but as soon as we're awake and we see it, it's gone. Okay, then you need one of these Samsung SSD. These are the only ones I've been buying for ages. These are so fast and it holds 1 terabyte. So your videos, you want to store them. If you don't put them on YouTube, or if you're editing as well, you know, then you want to store them. So we do a lot of editing, so I store all my videos on these SSDs. They have no movable parts, and therefore they're hardly breakable. So sometimes I drop one and I think, oh my God, that's it. And a normal disc would have been it, but with this, it's still good. So I love these Samsung SSD. They're expensive, but they're well worth it. If you're uploading, you need a YouTube account. So uploading to YouTube is also great for sharing, for storing. And once it's on YouTube, you can decide who has access to it, or whether it's listed or unlisted. So if it's unlisted, then you need to provide a link. You can post the link in a group, for example. But another great thing is which we use in our online courses a lot. We ask people to upload to YouTube, make it unlisted, and then send us the link, and it allows us to look at the video and put it in slow-mo. So if you go to the bottom of YouTube, the bottom right-hand corner, there's a setting and you can put it in slow-mo. So looking at yourself performing tasks, performing exercises, etc. Side on, front on, it's perfect when you do that in slow-mo. It's really, really good. So YouTube account, you need your social group to ask questions. I've already spoken about that, and there'll be a link. A foam roller is really good. I don't have one here right now, but you can use a ball as well to work all the points and just release those muscles, just relax. And then we got a massage gun as well. They're great too, just to work the calves, work the glutes, work the quads, even your back, between your scapula, etc. So massage gun is great. Vibrams, I don't have them here, they're outside at the moment, I just use them. Vibrams are great if you're not working out in bare feet. So I prefer bare feet. The second best thing is Vibrams, 5-finger shoes. They're nice and thin, which is good because it allows you to use all the muscles, it allows you to use all your toes. So in shoes, especially running shoes are for running. They're made thick because you're running and you're getting impact. It also makes you run incorrectly really because the sole under the heel is so thick. That's why you can land on your heel. Otherwise you would never be able to land on your heel. And as they say, heel first and then the ball of your foot. That's something that came in when they brought out these fancy shoes. If you're running with Vibrams, then you'll learn to run with the ball of your feet first, which is how we're made to run really, and then landing on your heels and then pushing off on the ball of your feet. So that will teach you how to use your feet properly again. Now, don't go crazy with that because like anything, if you pick up a kettlebell and you've never done kettlebells before, you're going to get injured. Same thing with the Vibrams or minimalistic shoes. You're just going to get injured if you're going from a shoe that's all nice and comfy and really compact and makes it so that you don't need to use your feet, and then you go to Vibrams, then you start running, etc. You're going to get injured. You need to progress with that as well. 1 hour, 2 hours, and build it up and make sure that you focus on technique. Next thing, what do you need? You need a kettlebell t-shirt from Caveman Training, of course. So make sure you check out our shop, www.cavemantraining.com/shop. We got kettlebell t-shirts, they're shipping worldwide. Then you need kettlebell books to learn. So you got kettlebell books for workouts. Now workouts are not to learn. A workout is to test what you've learned under different conditions, whether it's weight or endurance or power or speed, etc. So before you get into the workout books, you need to make sure that you've mastered each exercise and you understand all those. So in our shop we have many books. There's 21 days for kettlebells for beginners, kettlebell training fundamentals, there's videos, courses, kettlebell exercise encyclopedia. We got the Caveman Inner Circle, which is weekly kettlebell workouts online. You are part of a group of over 86 people right now and professional coaches, including myself, who provide a weekly workout, and you get access to over 150 workouts in the library. You can post for feedback and coaching. It's one of the best groups to learn. It's only focused on learning and working out. Okay, master the kettlebell curl, master the kettlebell press, master the kettlebell clean, etc. So make sure you check that out as well, www.cavemantraining.com kettlebelltoolbox.com/shop, and that's a kettlebell toolbox for you. These are the things that you should have in your toolbox